Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing, tax mongers in Thailand and reminding them of this little economic shift. What are we talking about here? Well, first of all, let me preface this by saying, unfortunately, for seemingly the last minimum of a year, it's probably been more like 18 months at this point, from roughly August of 2023, there has been this increasingly loud narrative that Thailand is somehow in an economic crisis and therefore we have to go into tremendous amounts of debt to create digital money that we then hand out, and then, now we're in a totalitarian financial system, but never mind, it's an emergency, we have to do this. And I've been screaming to the rafters for over a year now, especially in light of the Q1 2024 numbers where we saw some of the highest consumer spending we've seen in decades here in Thailand. I've been screaming to the rafters that, hey, there isn't really much of an economic crisis other than the one brought about by the government itself by shutting down our economy for 2.5 years, which, if you want to know why tax revenues are low and why we have a little bit of lag in terms of economics and income and cash flow and things, shutting down an economy for 2.5 years does that. You can't just turn it on and off like a light switch, okay? That's first thing to understand. But then on top of that, Thailand bounced back hard. Thailand came at it hard. And it had some other factors involved there, as we've discussed. Cannabis policy changing probably had an impact on the economy, probably had an impact on tourism too. That being said, again, Thailand and everybody in Thailand who was involved in this should get some credit, okay? The government, everybody who really got behind, hey, we need to get tourism back, and we pushed for it and we got there. I'm very proud of Thailand. I'm very proud of everybody in the government and everybody here in Thailand for getting to that level. That was great. But we need to disabuse everyone of this notion that there's some kind of economic calamity that requires some, frankly, over-the-top response that'll put us into either totalitarianism or so much debt that we will have serious problems in terms of having to pay it off long term. That said, I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Bangkok Post. BangkokPost.com. Article is titled, Minister Vows Tax Reform to Enhance Competitiveness. And I just love this tax reform. It's like, no, you're trying to get more taxes is what it's coming out to, and actually create an incredibly complex Byzantine system that foreigners will have to deal with that, in my opinion, will discourage them from wanting to come into this economy and operate. But we've discussed that at length in other videos. That said, quoting directly, Mr. Pichai, and that's Finance Minister Pichai Chunhawajira, said this year marks a turning point for the Thai economy. Over the past decade, economic growth has been paltry, with an average real growth rate of less than 2%. He said, first of all, let's be real clear. Demographically for Thailand, less than 2%, not terrible. Also, the last 5 years have not exactly been just smooth sailing. Again, 2.5, 3 of those years, we were totally shut down. There's a whole year in there where we were trying to come back off of all this COVID nonsense and get back on our feet that was very suboptimal, but okay, we went through it. Only in 2024, we back to numbers that we were used to going back before Q1 of 2020. Okay, so that's the first thing to understand is that, yeah, the economy is not great right now because we're coming off of basically 5 years of basically Soviet command economic policies is basically what we're coming off of, and they were horrible. So it's going to take a moment to recover from that. Frankly, I'm proud of Thailand's fast economic recovery. It's been better as a practical matter than any other jurisdiction I've seen, read about, or researched. So from that perspective, I'm really tired of this narrative that Thailand's got some kind of economic problem. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying we get to get complacent. But I'm saying that, look, this constant pearl clutching and this constant hyperbole of how bad the economy is, it has an agenda behind it. And that agenda we've discussed a lot on this channel. Quoting further, the economy is expected to grow by 2.7 to 2.8% in 2024, which represents a significant positive shift. Remind these bureaucrats of this, and I'll be doing it myself probably from this channel, probably bringing up this exact quote again multiple times, because I presume over the course of the next year, they're going to try again with this narrative of economic disaster to try and get us into digital magic bean token money, or to try to get us into some boondoggle deal where the country has to go into a bunch more national debt that it doesn't really need. So this is the reason for this video is, if for nothing else, to point out the data point that the finance minister himself had to actually point out that, hey, actually there's been a positive shift in terms of the economics here in the Kingdom of Thailand.